Blue Jays are going on. Oh, look at me, I'm wearing blue. Man. I feel like there's so much to say that I'm unsure of where to even begin and what feels right to share at this time. If there's anything I am sure of, it's that we need to be who we are. I have found that I need to be who I am. We are all creation. We are all half God, half human. The greatest gift we can give back to Source, to the divine, to God, is embracing ourselves, our identities, knowing that we are enough as we are. You know, we don't need to change any part of ourselves. We don't need to try to be something we're not. And for me personally, on this journey, my journey, because, I think we all have different separate journeys, but I think they're all interconnected. And for me, on mine, it's been a lot of remembering and just getting back to who I am at my core and remembering who that is. And I think it's the ego and fear can often clouds my vision at times. But they can only do that. They can only do that when we don't acknowledge them, right? When we allow them to remain in our shadows, in our unconscious mind. But once we illuminate them, suddenly we can start recognizing. What I've started to do, especially with these two, is I've named my shadows. So my ego and my fear. Got Fantasia, we got Elodie. And I love both of them. And they're there to protect me, to help me, to make sure I'm not being walked over, to have my back. That's basically it, right? Keep me safe. But due to some human mechanisms, right, and the way that human mind functions, we do this as humans, associate fear and activate those same hormones, the same stress responses to things that are based in actual safety mechanism, right? Like the fear response, it's like, oh, we had to get away from friggin' lions. Yeah, okay, we need that response so that we can friggin' run in our cortisol and get away. Right? But as society evolved and humans evolved and our way of being and living evolved, like those threats went away, but the mechanism did not. And the mechanism itself then adapts and becomes this avenue for us to basically passing the baton, right? So it's like, oh, okay, well now you are that same response and mechanism is gonna go off when you feel like when you have to give a speech, right? Fear, anxiety. Now that mechanism is gonna go off when you are trying something new. You have a job interview. Right? And so we just have to learn to recognize them and admit that we hold these things within us, right? Because a lot of us like to be like, I'm not afraid of anything, which is ego and fear go hand in hand. Think about that. That kind of attitude, I'm not afraid of anything. Yes, you are. You're human. You can't just rid yourself of fear. You can't just rid yourself of the ego. We have to be able to learn to acknowledge it and see it so that we could start recognizing when it serves us and when it's maladaptive, and then choose, right? Because we always get a choice. but we have to be able to see that choice, to know that we're consciously choosing. Because either way, you're making a choice. Even if you don't know that you're making a choice, that's still a choice, right? What is that saying? Like, not choosing is still a choice. Because either way, it's still going to go, like, that's still a choice. So we have to, yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say. I feel like everything just kind of cut off there. Maybe I'll start doing short little videos like this. I don't know, you guys. I'm just doing what I feel called to in the moment. And I've learned that, like, you know, I think I've held on to this idea of, like, I have to help people. And it's not just but you can't help anybody, because at the end of the day, we're all on our own journeys. So it's like people have to help themselves, and they have to want to help themselves. And it's like, sure, like, right, we can give advice and feedback if someone asks for it. But giving unsolicited feedback, unsolicited advice, unsolicited anything in that regard is just, it's self-serving, right? Like, for me, it was unconsciously about like trying to get this like recognition of like, oh, this will make me worthy. But it's like also tricky because I deeply do care and like want people to be happy, right? I have so much love. And so for me, this has been a real conundrum of trying to like disentangle, even being able to see that that's what I'm doing, right? And like understanding that everyone is on their own journey, and you can't help anyone. Like, the best way to help someone is just in being, right? And then for me anyways, this is just in being and not offering advice and feedback unless someone's like actually looking for it, right? Because at the end of the day, like, we're still going to make the choices and decisions we want to make regardless of the information we get, especially if we're not seeking out that information because we want it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was dating, right? And then, like, this is no shade or anything, but it's just like, because it's like we're all mirrors. Like, I was a mirror for him, he was a mirror for me. He helped me see things that I needed to see in myself. But like when I was dating my ex, like, people would call it like, oh, he's a narcissist. Like, in that regard, hold on, what was I saying? I see this is like something I'm going over recently, is just like tiptoeing around these things, because I don't want to paint anybody in a certain light where I'm like judging them. Because I realize, like, if you're judging anyone, you're judging yourself, right? And it's like, shoot, what was I saying? Him, in the same regard. Come on, brain. Maybe I'm going off topic. I feel like that happens when I'm sharing something and maybe I shouldn't be sharing, or like I'm getting off track. Like, my brain will be like, nope, it's not where we're going. And it's like a helping mechanism. It's like an intuitive, like, trust thing that I'm learning with myself. Is that on my nose there? Oh, that's what it was. So with him, like, I was constantly trying to throw advice at him, like everything that I was learning and like experiencing, because I like really turned inward, right? Which is what it's about. I turned inward in that relationship because I really wanted to make it work. Like, I was like, okay, I gotta start looking at myself. Like, maybe like I'm part of this problem, right? Because we like to like try to put the responsibility on someone else entirely, and you can't do that. It's always a two-way street, one way or another. Like, you guys are mirrors. You guys are showing each other something in the other person. But I constantly just tried to like give him all this advice and look into this and read this and like, these will help, you'll see. And it's like, he didn't want any of that information. That's not where he was at. He wasn't ready for it. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of that relationship, it's like I was able to look back, like during it, as we were separating, and be like, okay, you know what? Like, I can see where I'm currently like still being triggered because I'm not healed. We're always healing, but like I could see how I couldn't be what he needed to come out, and he couldn't be what I needed to be able to get to what he needed. Like, yeah, it's difficult to explain. Basically, like, in my perception and my view at that time, I was like, okay, like, he needs someone who's not going to get triggered, who can be patient with him, who basically is who I am today, right? We'll say that. Like, someone who can look at things from a different perspective, who can be calm, not take things personally, and see that something's about someone else and just give them their time and space and just focus on me, right? That's what he needed. But I needed someone who could help me work through the relationship dynamics, right? With like conflict resolution. So if we had an argument, we would come back down, sit with each other, talk about it, like no blame, right? That. But like to him, that was not something that like he was ready for. So it was just like this miss thing, right? Because if I didn't need that and I was just like good, I grew up like with a secure attachment style, I would just be like, all right, like he needs some space. He's like struggling right now. He's going through his own thing. And I would just be able to like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to like do my thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like eventually that gives him space to feel safe to like start growing and opening up. But I didn't have a secure attachment. Like neither of us did, right? But I didn't have a secure attachment either. And then I was the more anxious and he was more avoidant style. And so that's like a, you know what I'm saying? If you guys don't know attachment styles, I highly recommend looking those up in the context of relationships so you can understand your dynamics a little better and what you might be attracting in and whatnot. Really good stuff. Yeah, but anyways, you can't force people. People have to want to do things on their own. They have to want to heal. They have to want to grow. They have to want to, and like what it all goes into really is looking within. Like we can find this like little thing on my nose. We can find all the answers by just going within and digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But not to fix yourself. You're basically like, I feel like my journey has just brought me back to myself, which is just realizing that it's like, I am enough as I am. Right. And I think like from the things I experienced in life, like I basically built up this sense of like, no, you're not. You're not worthy of love. Even though consciously I wasn't recognizing that, because we have to look at our shadows, right? If you guys aren't familiar with shadow work, I wouldn't just Google it in the effects of like the spiritual community. Look into Carl Jung in regards to shadow work. And then if you want to get a book, Chakras and Shadow Work by, hold on, Stephanie Michelle, this book. Really helpful as well to like for a starting point, because it goes so deep, you guys, and it's not really something you can put into words. It's something you have to experience and something you have to go through. And I'm just sharing in the hopes, I'm sharing for those who want to look into it, who are curious. I'm sharing it for the folks who are really serious about going inward and really want some direction, aren't sure where to look, aren't sure where to start. But like I would just say, follow your heart, follow your instincts, your intuition over instincts, both of them. Everything goes together. Everything all goes together. Everything's all connected. And follow your greatest joy and excitement. If you want, who else have I heard talk? I recently started listening to a few of, I don't know the actual guy's name. Just Google Bashar if you haven't heard of him already. But like a lot of what he talks about is the same things that it's like I've come to my own conclusions on through going inward. Like the same exact things and concepts. Not everything. I haven't listened to all of his stuff, but check him out too. check out my other videos on this channel if this one feels helpful, especially my earlier videos. Because what my earlier videos were, you guys, and are, or whatever, they are essentially me sharing things as I've been on this journey, right? So me sharing things that's like, what I would, like, the term that comes to mind is like revelations, like these big realizations, right? Where it's just like, oh my God, like that was hiding from me, or I couldn't see this, or like this is like, you know, yeah, I would say listen to some of those. Because a lot of what I've always said on this channel is it goes back to self-love. And that's what it was for me. And I don't know if that is what it is for you, but that's what it is for me. And I feel like even more so taking it an extra step, not even just self-love, but knowing and believing that I am worthy of receiving and being loved exactly as I am. We are a drop of the ocean of source. We were created exactly as we were supposed to be. So just be you. I was created exactly as I was supposed to be. And it's funny because there's things I've realized as well. Like at the end of my last relationship, I consciously realized that oh, I have no reason to hold back any part of who I am and how I choose to show up in this world, because I have nothing to lose. Because at that point, that's how it felt to me. Because it was like there was if y'all don't know, and it's like, again, no shade, I'm just stating the facts. I had been cheated on, and then there was another child. And so to me at that moment, it's like, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to completely be myself. I'm completely open to just completely working on things, looking inward, how do I need to grow? What parts do I need? I was just completely me, because I was like, if I'm giving this a shot and we're going to do this damn thing, then we're going to do this damn thing. And I'm going to be me, and you're going to accept me for me, or you're not. And I walked around life outside of my relationship within that same energy. With that same energy. And then it left me after I decided to end it. Because that sense of inner knowing and self-love was still being tied to and partially derived from, in the end it wasn't. Because in the very end, it's like I chose me, right? I was like, you know what? I love me. I need more. I know he needs more too, but I also need more. And I love both of us enough to be like, all right, it ain't working. But yeah. Whew. I don't know where this message is going. But I do know that it's me being real. Me just talking. Not trying to, which is kind of what this journey is, right? It's me showing up just as I am and knowing that I am enough as I am. I can look, what is E40 song? Sometimes I dress high class, sometimes I dress bummy. And I feel like that's totally like the energy. It's just like I am enough as I am, however I want to show up, anytime, any day. It don't matter. I don't have to get all done up to come on here. I don't have to do anything. I can. If I want to get all done up to come on here, I can. You know? It just really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Because my worth is innate. Your worth is innate. Our worth is innate. We are of source creation. That in itself, I'm hearing, is holy. Holy. What's the definition of holy? I'll be looking that up. Yeah, so this is me. If you're new to this channel, this is just me sharing my journey as I am on it. So if you're curious as to what the hell I'm talking about, or if like none of this is making any sense at all, I feel like it usually makes a decent amount of sense. Just tuning in. This channel is called The Insight of Your Mind because we are all connected. We are all one. Different, same, right? We're all different, but we're all the same. We are all of the ocean. We're all drops of the ocean. We're all snowflakes falling from the sky, right? We all look different, have different experiences, different personalities, different ways of thinking and viewing and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, we are all of source. We all are of creation. And we just have to know that. We just have to not deny any part of ourselves. I had an experience recently where looking back, like, and it took me a while to really see it, but it's like I was guilting myself because I hadn't acknowledged my ego. So something happened, and it was an intense experience. I'll share that on here in more depth at some point if I feel like I want to. But there is a video or two where I talk about it briefly. I feel like I was like going to die and there was evil and all this kind of stuff. But it was me guilting and shaming myself because my ego got activated during something. And I was like, felt bad that it came up in my mind because I hadn't acknowledged that I have an ego, and therefore it was still hidden in my shadows, and therefore I was shaming and guilting myself for having said thought, egoic thought. Therefore I became my ego as opposed to noticing my ego. And then I hadn't acknowledged, I'd actually denied that I have a fear of dying, that I had a fear of dying. So I was allowing fear to control me in that way too, because I didn't want to acknowledge that I could be afraid of things. Which is interesting. I'm not entirely sure why. I'll have to look at that. But a big part of it is because I thought back on my childhood and I was like, oh, before I literally didn't have like any fear, but I also didn't. Oh, interesting. So I've always believed in something bigger than myself, right? I've never believed that we just die and disappear. But when I was little, I felt like life sucked, right? Suicidal kid. Ideation, whatever. Never actually made an attempt. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. What was I saying? Yeah, so I actually had a lack of love for life when I was younger. And I knew that there's more beyond this. And so, like, death didn't scare me as a kid. I was just like, all right, I'll go after something better. Cool. Right? That's how I thought about it. And I'm not saying anything's better or worse in any regard. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm going to do all the things I want to do. No fear. But I've flipped that narrative on its head. The first tattoo, and I just realized this as I was going over these things in my mind the other day. First tattoo I got, and the only one right now, says "Love Life" on my shoulder. And I realized after I finally confronted my fear of death that it's like, oh, I'm afraid of death because I love life so much. Life is so beautiful. There's so many things to experience here, right? That we don't get to experience unless we're in like this 3D like form. And so there's just so much to love and experience and appreciate. This is why gratitude is so helpful, to not take these little things for granted. Because like I promise you guys, I don't know everything, but you don't get to experience Earth. All the feelings, all the emotions, like all the different things, right? There's so much, like I have no idea what this whole entire universe encompasses. And like there's just so much that we can never comprehend, at least in this consciousness on this earth, right? But it's just like there's just so much. Like we have texture, smell, touch, taste, like beautiful little plants. This is life. Getting to stick your hands in dirt, like cooking a meal, listening to music, reading a book, making arts and crafts, and like dressing yourself up, fashion, jewelry, like, you know, this is all here in the material. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. What I can say is this journey has never been easy. I'm gonna like cry. I keep getting like emotional. It's like facing parts of yourself is some of the, I would argue, like the hardest thing that you can do. Especially because like as you go deeper and deeper within yourself, like there's so much pain. Right? And it doesn't have to, like, you don't have to have like, you know, like the most, like, and I feel like we all might have some trauma. Maybe this is just my story. I don't know, but I'm sharing it with you guys in case it will help someone, in case this information can help them. And not like I can help you. It's like you have to help you. But if me just sharing my story will help somebody, it'll bring me so much joy. Because if you're watching this video and this is helping in any way, shape, or form, I just want you to know, like, you're not alone. You are seen. What you're going through, you are seen. And you're doing fantastic. Give yourself grace and patience. That's what I keep telling myself right now. Just like anytime I start like getting in my, because I can get in my head a lot. I don't know about y'all. I just remind myself, like, patience and grace. You're doing great. Patience and grace. You're doing great. A tattoo I'm going to be getting to represent, I'm not going to like describe the tattoo itself, but like basically to me it represents faith, maintaining faith, love, and vulnerability. And within that, like, I don't know, just like understanding that we are infinite and also capable of breaking out of our own mental prison. But maintaining faith, love for self, and the ability to be vulnerability. That's really just about being who you are, isn't it? I've always said vulnerability is the embodiment of self-love. And if you fully love yourself and accept yourself, there's no need to shrink or hide any part of yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, none of it. Like, obviously, use your discernment. You don't want to allow the ego to control you. You don't want to overindulge in it constantly, right? But just allowing all parts of yourself to exist internally and not guilting or shaming yourself when those arise. That is the embodiment of self-love, self-acceptance. Hmm. 30 minutes. Okay. Man. More of this journey to come soon. I think and everything I'm saying, you guys, is something I've personally experienced. I'm not saying like we are half God, half human, because it's like, and you'll believe this or you won't, and that's totally fine. For those who it resonates with, like, it'll if whoever it's meant for, it will find. Whatever part you're meant to hear right now, whatever part's meant to make sense to you right now, will. But I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that's a place I'm trying to be like, I'm above you. Like, I'm saying this because this is something I have personally been experiencing on this journey and waking up to. Like, I truly believe like that our duty, maybe not our duty, I don't know. I was going to say, I believe our duty is to upgrade our consciousness. And I feel like that's happening, though. I feel like that's happening on a mass collective scale because we are all connected, right? And you can look all over the spiritual community. People are talking about these things and what they're experiencing and going through. Excuse me. And so I honestly believe that, like, this is a shift that's going to take place. And I feel like it'll be really, and I'm feeling sadness again because it's just like, I don't want anyone to experience. People are going to experience what they're going to experience. But I want this transition for everyone to be as kind and comfortable to a degree, because we don't grow inside our comfort zones, but as possible. I feel like there's just so much turmoil, and I feel like when we don't face our inner demons, right? There is no evil, okay? By the way, there is no actual physical demons trying to get you or out to get anybody, right? Anything like that you're experiencing is your own energy, the part of your energy that you're denying. Look into Carl Jung. Carl Jung knew what he was talking about, okay? Everything he stated around individuation and all that stuff is what I am going through and experiencing. This is science, okay? This isn't some out there stuff. This is, look at Carl Jung. Y'all, we all reference Carl Jung. Let's reference Carl Jung then. All right, this isn't some out there crackerdoodle, like, BS. Like, this is some real shit. And it's beautiful. Right? Like, what haven't we been able to explain scientifically? Consciousness, right? We don't know where it comes from. We don't know. Because consciousness is our connection to ourselves, connection to our inner, our higher self, to God, to source. And to become consciously aware of that is no walk in the park. It's no, like, yeah, it's no walk in the park, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And even where I'm at right now, I still got fear coming up and ego coming up, and like, you know, I'm working with those, at least over these last few days, and like it's really just coming to light, and I'm just like, it ain't a walk in the park, but I think I don't even think, I know it's worth it, right? Because source is source. Source loves us infinitely. These are like some of the same concepts you hear about in like religion, right? Like, it's kind of, but there's this thing, right, that we can do, which was what I had been doing when I went through like my scary experience, is what is referred to, what Carl Jung would call spiritual bypassing, where it's like you're utilizing spiritual things to basically try to go around feeling certain things unconsciously because you're not acknowledging those shadow aspects of yourself. And so all right, I think this video, oh, my back, hold on. I need to do some stretching, y'all. I just did do stretching. What am I talking about? I need to do more stretching then. Whew. Yeah. See, I get in my head sometimes. Because I'm like, all you have to do is be you. Am I talking too much? I think like I'll hear things like the horn and be like, oh, is that a sign that I need to? But I think what it's showing me is that right there, I'm like attempting to spiritual bypass myself, right? Like maybe I'm starting to feel uncomfortable as I'm talking. And if like wondering, I'm starting to doubt myself. Am I sharing too much? Instead of like feeling that, I hear that. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should use that as a sign to stop talking. Is that a form of spiritual bypassing? I think it is. Because it's like, it's showing me that I'm already starting to feel these feelings as I'm talking. I'm wondering if I'm saying too much. And maybe that's why I'm starting to like, oh my gosh, I said this was blue earlier, it's green. Okay. Elodie, pipe down. Oh gosh. Okay. Elodie's my ego, remember. This is for all my. We're all one. We're all connected. I am you. You are me. Together we're one big happy family. Oh, I don't even know if I'm going to share this one because, you know, I feel like I've been so going inward and trying not to, just really trying to go inward before I even come talk to you guys. Because there's just so much I've been processing, and I feel like I want to share the right message, but this is supposed to be my raw, messy journey, right? Just so y'all could see what it is I'm going through. So that if you're going through something similar, you know that you're not alone. Because I know like a lot of videos out there are posted the calm after the storm. We're only in those good, everything's expansion and contraction. So I feel like a lot of content is all about the expansion, and they're not showing you the contraction portion and making it look like it's, you know, I don't even know these people. I don't even know where they're at on their journeys, what they're doing. I don't even know. But all I know is everything is like a roller coaster. There's ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And that is never going to stop. That is part of what makes life so interesting and beautiful as well. You know, if everything was the same and everyone thought and acted the same, that'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? Like if all of our personalities were the same, there weren't some quiet people, some super loud people. You know, just like be who you are. I don't even know. Never mind. See, and sometimes I'll get on here and I'm just like talking and thinking as well. So you guys are getting the full experience. What this is like for me. Goodness gracious. My little babies. What I do know is that I am enough as I am. You are also enough as you are. All parts of you. All parts of me. This part of me. Part of me that's messy and disorganized. What's that saying? Like, flying by the boot of my straps or something like that. I don't know. Not sure. But yeah, I just think it's important to have an expression of raw messiness that's not perfection, because perfection is imperfection, right? Because there is no perfect. There's no perfect. So stop trying to be perfect. You will never be perfect. You try to be better at whatever, your sport, your career, like whatever, but you're never going to be perfect. I am not saying that to like, just like, you're not going to be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. These plants aren't perfect. Friggin'. Like, how would you even define perfect? Because I'm over here thinking, I'm like, is our source considered perfect then? Or maybe, I don't know. How would you define it? And if we are all a drop of that ocean, we're all not perfect, then the answer by default would then be no. Right? Or if they created us perfectly the way they wanted in their image, I don't know. We're going to stop. See, this is me getting too much in my head at times. I'm going to go enjoy this life right now. Go do some cool, fun, humany things. I need to go get some cleaner, some soap, and I'm just gonna clean a little bit because I love a really clean, neat, and tidy home. Feels good. So that's what we're gonna do. All right. If you guys watched this all the way through, thank you. And also, I'm happy for you, because that means that this is, you know, something that's hitting with you in some way, shape, or form. And if that's the case, then I know that on some level, you're finding something in these words. And that's really all I could hope for. And I think there's still part of my ego, Elodie, who like wants to get that sort of like satisfaction. Like, oh, but really that's okay. She's there. She's got my back. She's going to be my biggest cheerleader always. So of course, I don't have to feel bad or guilt or shame myself for feeling that, right? It's just part of the human experience. That's okay. It's okay. Because as I'm sitting here and I was talking to you guys, I was feeling guilt and shame. I was just like, oh, am I doing this? Like, and not just me feeling this. It's like, no, babe, Elodie is part of you. She's part of you. You recognizing her. You can see her. Perfect. That's it. You are not her. She is a part of you. Anyways, more to this story to come. Maybe I'll get organized and break something down. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? All right. I love you guys. I will talk to you guys in the next one. My little outro. I hope you're having a... I don't know why that just hit me. I hope you're having a great day, evening, night, whatever it is you're finding this message. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.